Well, hello again, and welcome back to the Straight A Nursing Podcast. I'm Nurse Mo, and this is episode 222. It's actually a mini-sode, a mini episode, a little bit of a bonus outside of our usual weekly posting schedule. So I'm really excited to be sharing this with you today. And we're actually kicking off a whole slew of mini episodes over the next few weeks. So if you're not yet subscribed to the podcast, make sure that you follow or subscribe so that all of these bonus episodes show up automatically in your podcast player. So before we dive into the episode, I want to share a quick listener shout out from Jim, who says, "First day in Skills Lab, and I was leaps and bounds ahead because of the boot camp. I'm so glad I took it, especially because of the dosage calculations. We took a practice exam, and I was one of the few who finished and the only one with an A. I was surprised most people did nothing to prep for nursing school." So Jim, I'm so glad that you found boot camp helpful, even from day one. That is such a good feeling. So I wish more students prepared for nursing school. If they did, it might not hit them like such a ton of bricks like it does, but I'm really glad that you went into it with your eyes open and prepared for what was heading your way. Okay, so for this mini episode today, we're talking about a thought that a lot of students have, especially returning students, and that is that they're too old for nursing school. So I'm going to share some groundbreaking news with you today. Guess what? You're not too old for nursing school. So I know a lot of students return back to college, return back to school after maybe a big gap, maybe having a family, maybe having a whole other career, and then go to nursing school and think, oh my gosh, I am too old for this. Well, I just want to say, I don't care how old you are. If you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, or 60s, you are not too old for nursing school. If this is your dream, then you're definitely in the right place. So let's talk about that a bit here today. So I did this poll in my Facebook group. I really wanted to hear from older students and their experience. So I had over 500 people respond to my survey, and the results were really eye-opening. And if you look at it at first blush, you might think, oh, older student, total disadvantage, right? Well, not so fast. In fact, of those that I polled, 63% felt they had an actual advantage over other students. And then about 22% felt it was neutral. And then really, it was only about 15% who felt they had a disadvantage. So to me, that's just amazing, right? So let's first talk about what those disadvantages were. Let's get those out of the way because there's so many advantages that I cannot wait to share with you. So when we are looking at disadvantages perceived by the older student, the biggest one was that time management issue when they are dealing with family responsibilities, especially when younger children are involved. So yeah, juggling school, juggling home responsibilities, absolutely going to be a key factor in an older student feeling at a disadvantage. So if this is you, I want you to know you're not alone. You're not the only student to ever go through nursing school as a parent, as a caregiver to others. Maybe it's your parents that you're caring for. There is proof that it can be done, that it is done all the time. So if you're concerned about going to school, going to nursing school as a parent, as a caregiver, especially with those younger kids at home, I have a bonus episode that I created with a student of mine who went through my boot camp and was in my Facebook group and still is, Chelsea Farnsworth. She has, I believe, 4 kids, and I think they were pretty young when she was in school. She absolutely crushed it. She had such good boundaries, such good systems in place, and really did a fantastic job. So in this bonus episode, I basically interview her and say, how on earth did you pull this off? And she shares in that episode some of her tips, some of her advice, and also it's just really helpful to hear that pep talk from a parent to someone who's facing the same challenges. So that is a bonus episode. I will link to it in the episode notes so that you can go and take a listen to that. Okay, another disadvantage cited by the older student was there being a bit of a gap between when they were in school before and when they're in school now, and just finding it difficult to get back into school mode, to get back into learning how to be a student. And then another one was tech. For some older students, maybe older students who didn't have a very techie type job, maybe were focused on raising a family, there might be some tech items, some technology that you have to use in nursing school that you've never used before. And just being unfamiliar with that can feel like a disadvantage because, of course, you're always just like really trying to get your assignments done. And anytime there's any kind of a glitch or a hiccup, I don't know about you, but to me, that's really frustrating. And sometimes the tech is the issue for that, right? So that was cited as a disadvantage by some students. And then the fast pace was also cited as a disadvantage. But to that one, I'm just going to say it's fast paced for everybody. So I don't know if we can pull out older students for that one. Another disadvantage that was mentioned was feeling left out of peer groups that are a lot younger. And, I get wanting to have a cohort that you feel connected with in nursing school, but really having a big social circle in nursing school is probably not going to be your main goal. I would say find one or two other students that you connect with to maybe study with, bounce ideas off of, support each other. But you're probably, to be honest, you're going to be too busy for much of a social life with your peers in school. And as long as you're all getting along and you all support one another, then that's perfect. That's an absolute perfect cohort. Okay, so those were the disadvantages. There's not that many, right? I would say, again, that biggest one is probably juggling the family. But Chelsea has got you covered with some of her best tips in that bonus episode. So now I'm ready to blow your mind with all the advantages that older students actually have. So one is maturity and professionalism. This was mentioned over and over again by people who took my survey. And with this maturity, with this professionalism, comes an understanding of the gravity of what you're learning in nursing school and why it matters. Additionally, this translates into carrying yourself with more stature in class, in clinical, and that professionalism, that maturity, you can convey that so well to patients. And it's almost like that trust factor is kind of built in if they see that you've got some maturity behind you, the way you carry yourself, and they may open up to you more readily and trust you more readily. So to me, that's a huge advantage. Another key advantage is skill sets from prior jobs or careers. And this does not have to be a job or career in healthcare at all. So if you're an older student and you're going back to school and you've had another career or different jobs in the past, think about what those have been. And maybe there are some skills that would cross over into nursing school and into nursing. So, for example, the ones that come top of mind to me are any kind of job or profession where you had to juggle multiple priorities and determine things like, here's what demands my attention now, here's what I can delegate to someone else, and here's what I can put off till later. Guess what? That's really, really translatable to nursing. Not only is it going to help you in school to, juggle your assignments and your time management, but when you're facing a situation at the bedside of a patient, I guarantee you that's not the only situation or patient that's on your mind right now. You probably have about 10 other things demanding your attention, and you have to be able to determine, okay, this is what I have to do right now. This is what I can delegate to someone else, and this is what I can do a little bit later. Very, very key skills. So if you've had that kind of job where you've had to juggle those multiple priorities, maybe constantly reprioritize things, you're going to be really good at figuring out nursing school itself, but also you're really going to shine in clinical. If you've been listening to my podcast for a while, you know there are 3 things that I really love. 1, my cat Oliver, obviously. 2, a really good glass of Sauvignon Blanc. And 3, hearing how much boot camp has helped my students. I get so many emails, social media messages, and testimonials that it's sometimes hard to choose a favorite, but here are a few I'm especially loving right now. So Caitlin says, Crucial Concepts Bootcamp was one of my best decisions. It calmed my nerves, dusted off old memories and things I needed to know, and provided valuable tools that have helped me stay on track and sane during my first semester. That one's pretty good, right? Well, how about this one? Sabina really loved the module on dosage calculations. So she says, the professors are continually impressed with my dimensional analysis method that I learned with you. Those questions on the test now are freebies for me, and I always get them right. Seriously, worth every penny. Then there's this one by Courtney who says, OMG, OMG, I just got 100% on my first exam in nursing school. I'll be leaving my 5-star review for the boot camp now. And then this one from Ashley. Ashley says, I absolutely loved how confident I felt after using the boot camp. I felt like I had a jump start on the content from my first semester. With how stressful the program is, the confidence was so valuable. I would purchase this program over and over again. 1000% worth it. See what I mean? How in the world am I supposed to choose a favorite? I'm just going to say I love them all. And I want you to know that boot camp is on sale right now. So I will put the link to Crucial Concepts Bootcamp in the episode notes. All the information you need is right there. So if you're looking for a reliable way to get prepared for nursing school, then join me in my nursing school prep course, Crucial Concepts Bootcamp. I really hope to see you there. Another key advantage from a past job or career would be that if you've got experience of any kind managing or interacting with difficult people, like any kind of customer service job, right? This will be so helpful in nursing because there's not going to be a single day where you don't encounter someone who's difficult either in their approach to you, their communication, their body language, their demands. It could be all kinds of things. And I'm not just talking about patients, and I'm not just talking about families. I'm talking about coworkers, the physicians you work with, people from other interdisciplinary teams, the nurse that gives you a report, your classmates, your instructors, your clinical professor. It can come from anywhere. So managing or interacting with difficult people, knowing how to communicate with them in a way that you get what you want, where you've set clear boundaries, where you're not going to be manipulated, where you listen, where you can de-escalate situations that look like they're ramping up to get ugly. That is a really key skill. So if you've done this in the past, you are so far ahead. That is going to be a huge advantage for you. If in a past job you had to do any kind of assessments, and I'm not talking about assessments of people. Let's say you have to do an assessment of figure out what's wrong with someone's computer, assess a computer malfunction, or any kind of job where you've had to go in and figure out what is wrong and where is this process wrong. That is a skill that you will use a lot as a nursing student and as a nurse. What about research? Did you have to do any research in a past job or career, like compiling data, getting research, pulling it together, gathering information, assimilating it, organizing it, and sending it back out in a cohesive manner? That is going to make you really great at looking for things online, looking for sources, discovering new information, writing your papers, or just plain figuring things out. Another key advantage that you might have from a prior career or a job is autonomy. If you had a job where you had to really take on an autonomous role and really take ownership of a project or a situation or a process or a team, then you're going to have a lot of good skills that translate to nursing school success as well as success as an actual nurse. Another very key area that you may have skills with from a prior job is communication. Older students simply just tend to have better communication skills from years of communicating in a professional setting or even just in difficult situations with a lot of different kind of people. Another huge factor that was listed as an advantage was having a family. Now, wait a minute. Didn't I say a lot of people said that was a disadvantage? Yes, it was for some. But some people actually felt having that was an advantage because they had a built-in support system. They had cheerleaders, someone to talk to, someone to decompress with that's not in nursing school, someone to listen when they've had a rough day, someone to celebrate when they had a great day, someone to just on a regular basis pull them out of the nursing school stress. And that is absolutely key. If you can pull yourself out of that on a regular basis, it doesn't feel so completely all consuming. Sometimes having somebody else to take care of lowers your stress because you don't think about your stress, right? You think about the other person. Another really key advantage that was mentioned by a lot of people who took the survey was simply life experience and confidence that comes with having life experience. A way that confidence shows for students is not being afraid to speak up, being willing to ask questions, even if you feel like, well, I'm probably going to look like an idiot if I ask this question, but I don't care. I need to know the answer to this question, right? You get to a certain age, you stop caring what other people think, right? It's like the best thing about getting older. So being willing to ask questions, being willing to stand up, advocate for your patient, advocate for yourself and your education, all of this stems from confidence with a side mix of good communication skills. Also, that older student is less likely to report feeling intimidated by their professors. Many times, your professor might be the same age as you, maybe even younger than you. And this makes it a lot easier to view that authority figure more as a colleague than some scary person that intimidates you and makes you really nervous, which can be helpful. Like, let's say you're in a skills checkoff, and if your person that's checking you off on this skill intimidates you, then I've heard of students physically shaking as they're practicing, showing their ability to do a skill. But if you view that person more as a colleague, sure, you'll be nervous because it's a high stakes situation, but you're probably not going to be so nervous that you're shaking nervous, right? So that can be really helpful as well. Many older students also stated a huge advantage was that they were motivated by outside drivers, mainly the families that were counting on them. This really was highly motivating for a lot of people. It makes the stakes really high, and it makes them take their education so seriously. Another key benefit that older students stated was that they required less hand-holding as they went throughout their programs. Now, this does go hand in hand with autonomy and confidence. As an older student, you will take great ownership of your education. This really is a big advantage because no one is going to spoon feed you in nursing school at all. There is no time for that, and there is no expectation for that. They are going to tell you what you need to know. They are going to give you the information, and they are going to expect you to take ownership of it. So that is a huge advantage if you can do that. Another big one was problem-solving ability. Many older students mentioned this, along with feeling very accountable to themselves and feeling very resourceful. All of these are things that will help you in nursing school and on the job. And if I had to choose one trait that makes a nursing student successful, It's not how smart they are. It's not how motivated they are. It's not how well they decipher NCLEX style test questions. It's not how dedicated they are to the profession. It is resourcefulness. 100%. It's resourcefulness. So if that sounds like you, and you know that you've relied on your ability to be resourceful in the past and you have that skill set, you're going to do really, really well in nursing school. So again, if you're heading into nursing school as that non-traditional older student, I want you to know you definitely are not alone. You're not going to be at any major disadvantage. Now, yes, there may be some, like again, maybe you have 2 children under the age of 6 at home. The time involved with caring for kids and doing schoolwork is going to be really difficult. That will be disadvantageous. But I bet when you start thinking about it, the advantages you have will make up for that. Okay. But I know you're probably nervous about some of the disadvantages. So let's talk about them a little bit. And there are definitely things that you can do ahead of time. And of course, I'm always going to encourage you to join me in Crucial Concepts Boot Camp, which is on sale right now, by the way. Link will be in the episode notes. And that program teaches you how to be successful in nursing school. Okay. And that's what Jim, who I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, he went through boot camp. But let's say, for example, you're worried specifically about technology because it's been a while since you had to do much more on your computer than online shop and check, upload photos to Facebook for your family to see. So my advice is to learn some basic skills ahead of time. You don't want to be in school learning how to become a nurse while you're also learning how to, run PowerPoint or manage a Google Drive or, do all those tech things. Anytime you can do a little prep ahead of time before classes start is when you want to do it, because once you're in school, there's just no time for extras, okay? So look at improving your basic computer literacy before classes begin. And some key things to know would be how to set up and use a Google Drive, knowing how to upload documents, knowing how to download documents, and more than that, know where they go on your computer, because you'd be surprised how many times people download things and they're like, I don't know where it went. Your computer has a special place for it. Once you figure out where that is, it's super easy, but you got to know what it is, right? Another one would be knowing how to take a screenshot and where your computer stores screenshots, how to record audio files, use teleconferencing software like Zoom, change the input and output settings on your computer, etc. Just some basic computer literacy. It's also really helpful to get your digital files organized so that you can store documents and find documents really quickly. Being organized is probably second to resourcefulness for the secrets of successful nursing students. I'm not even kidding. Being organized is absolutely crucial. Get familiar with left click versus right click. Maybe learn how to make a Quizlet. Doing things like that can be really helpful. Now, your school could have some resources for you on this. So as soon as you can get into the learning management system that your school uses, like Canvas or Blackboard, you want to get in there. And first of all, you want to learn how to use that, but also look to see if there's any kind of resource like a tech library or an IT support center. Go around, peek around, explore, see what the options are. They could have tutorial videos. They could even have equipment that you can check out. They may even have free software for you to download and use. So check out those resources. There could be a lot available for you. Now, again, as far as managing that home life, that school life, really important that you get your support systems set up ahead of time. That's going to be really, really helpful getting everybody in the house on board. If you go to nursing school, everybody in the house basically is going to nursing school. The whole family is. So, getting those support systems set up, getting your backup plans for your backup plans, because things happen. Things get moved around. Clinical days get moved, and they sometimes get moved the last minute, like the day before that week. Clinical days get moved, and you better have childcare covered because you can probably only miss 1, maybe 2 clinical days. Lab days get moved. Things that are mandatory will get sprung on you. And it's really frustrating, especially if you've got other people in your life that are counting on you. The school is probably not doing it on purpose, but I promise you it will still be very frustrating. So you'll be really thankful if you have, for example, childcare figured out and then backup childcare figured out. All right. And then one more thing I would like for you to do before your semester starts is take a minute to reassess your learning style. Now, just because when you took your prereqs, you were way into visual learning doesn't necessarily mean that you are now. Learning styles can change over time. I want you to be aware of what your current predominant learning style is so you can maximize it. But here's the thing. In nursing school, you cannot rely on just one learning style. You can't count on the type of content you're learning even being applicable to the type of learning style that you use. And the same goes for when you're at the bedside. When you are at a patient's bedside, it's not like you can say, well, I'm a visual learner, so I'm only going to pay attention to data that I get in visually. No, you're going to be getting information by talking to the patient. You're going to be listening to their heart and their lungs and all their sounds, right? You're going to be feeling their body. You're going to be reading data in the chart or, numbers from their vital signs. So you're going to be getting information in a variety of different ways, and you have to be able to use all learning styles. But just make sure that you know your predominant way and then maximize it as much as you can. But again, you got to use them all. And then just one more thing before I close out, you're not alone. I promise you that. There are a lot of students who are non-traditional, older students in their 30s, 40s, 50s, even in their 60s. Don't let your age stop you from reaching your goals, and don't assume it will be anything detrimental or disadvantageous. I honestly think you're going to have a lot of big advantages in nursing school. So again, Crucial Concepts Bootcamp is on sale right now. Click the link in the episode notes or go to learn.straightanursingstudent.com/crucial-concepts. Use promo code CCB Summer 22 for 20% off and some great bonuses such as a free electrolyte study guide, a free 2-week trial of Beyond Bootcamp, even a free Med Surg study guide when you use the social share option. Again, that's learn.straightanursingstudent.com/crucial-concepts. And the promo code CCB Summer 22. Grab your spot today so you can get through boot camp before classes start. I hope to see you there. Bye for now. This podcast is brought to you by Straight A Nursing.